Good morning, students. I hope all of you are keeping safe and well. Before we begin today's lesson, I'm going to show you a short video. I want you to pay attention to the person in the video.
Don't be afraid of work, don't be afraid to try, don't be afraid to network, and don't be shy. Go out and try, and you never know who you may inspire along the way.
The person in the video is Nick Vujicic. He does not have arms, nor does he have legs. Just like Nick, there have been others, like Helen Keller, Stephen Hawking. These people have made great contributions in the world despite their physical disabilities. Today we are going to study the poem Invictus by William Ernest Henley. This poem was written by William Ernest Henley in 1875 and it is based on his own life story. He was suffering from tuberculosis of the bone and it had spread to his leg and the doctors had to amputate his legs. And in that pain and suffering is when he wrote Invictus. The word Invictus means unconquerable, unbeatable. So today we are going to study the poem Invictus. I'm going to read the poem for you once and I want you to pay attention, all right? Invictus, William Ernest Henley. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. What word does the poet use to describe the night? We shall see for the answer. Black. The night is black. What is the poet captain of? You're right. The poet is captain of his own soul. We shall now do the first two stanzas in detail. What is the poet thankful for? Your options are the pit, his unconquerable soul, the night. Let's see. It's not the pit, it's not the night. The poet is thankful for his unconquerable soul. I want you to identify a word that means unbeatable. Is it unconquerable? Is it soul or is it pit? We'll see for the answer. It's not pit, it's not soul, it is unconquerable. So unconquerable means unbeatable. Students, tell me, why is the poet thankful for his unconquerable soul? Is it because his soul protected him at night from the gods? Is it because even in times of darkness he could stay strong? Or is it because he was thrown in the pit late in the night? Let's check for the answer. It is because even in times of darkness he could stay strong. Look at this line. Black as the pit from pole to pole. Let's identify the figures of speech. There are two figures of speech in this line, all right? Is it metaphor and alliteration? Is it simile and alliteration? Or is it personification and alliteration? We'll see. It is simile and alliteration. Why? Because the night is compared to being black And also the words pit and pole have the letters P that are repeated for poetic effect. Students, read this line. I thank whatever gods may be. The poet uses the word may. Why do you think that is? It is because the poet sounds unsure of whether God does exist, but he says, if there are any gods, I thank them for my unconquerable soul. How is the clutch of circumstance? Which word does the poet use to describe the clutch of his circumstances? Is it unconquerable? Is it fell? Or is it black? We'll see. It's not unconquerable. It's not black. The clutch of the circumstance is fell. Now I want you to identify a word from these three which means cruel or wicked. It's not circumstance, it is not clutch, it is fell. The word fell means cruel or wicked. Tell me, what has the poet not done despite his circumstances? Has he not bowed? Has he not winced or cried aloud? Or has he not been conquered? What does the poem say? The poem says, despite the poet's circumstances, he has not winced nor has he cried aloud. Alright, now I want you to look at this GIF very carefully. Now this is a slight movement in pain or any other negative emotion. Which of these words means this action here? Is it wince, is it clutch, or is it cry? We'll see. It's not cry, it's not clutch, it is wince. So when someone winces, it's a slight movement. It can be because of pain, it can be because the person is disgusted. It could also be sometimes because of fear. Tell me, students, why do you think the poet has not winced nor cried aloud? Is it because he is in the pit? Is it because he has been blessed with an unconquerable soul? Or is it because his head is bloody? We'll see. The poet has not winced or cried aloud because he has been blessed with an unconquerable soul. Now I want you to look at this GIF. Very violent, right? Which word here means to hit violently with a powerful weapon or an object? Is it bludgeoning? Is it chance? Or is it bloody? We look for the answer. It is bludgeoning. So to bludgeon someone means to hit someone violently with some heavy object. Look at this line here. Under the bludgeonings of chance. Chance, which is an abstract idea, has been given a human ability to bludgeon. Which figure of speech is this when an inanimate object or an abstract idea is given a human quality? Is it antithesis? Is it oxymoron? Or is it personification? It is personification. So the figure of speech in this line is personification. Read this line. My head is bloody but unbowed. We just saw the meaning of the word bludgeon. So the circumstances of the poet have bludgeoned him so bad that his head is bleeding, and in spite of that, he holds his head up high. Holding one's head up high is a sign of strength, is a sign of pride, is a sign of determination, is a sign of belief in oneself despite one's circumstances. Which is why the poet says, even though his head is bloody, it is unbowed. He does not give in to his circumstances. Alright, let's try to identify the rhyme scheme here. We have me, we have pole, which does not rhyme with me, so we have A, B. Then we have B, which again rhymes with the first line A, and soul, which rhymes with pole, so we have A, B, A, B. What about the next stanza? Let's see. Circumstance, allowed, chance, which again rhymes with circumstance, and unbowed, which rhymes with allowed. So the rhyme scheme of the first two stanzas is AB, AB. Now students, let's try to identify the main idea in these first two stanzas. Is it the joys of life? Is it the troubles of life? Or is it the strength of life? What is the poet talking about? He's talking about the troubles of his life, right? So we can say that the main idea of the first two stanzas, or this first unit that we've done, is the troubles of life. We shall now move on to the next two stanzas. Tell me, what looms beyond the wrath and the tears? Is it the menace of the years? Is it the horror of the shade? Or is it the gate? We'll see. It's not the menace of the years. Neither is it the gate. So, the horror of the shade looms beyond the rock and tears. Well, look at this. I want you to identify a word here that means anger. Is it wrath? Is it shade? Or is it menace? We'll see. It's not menace. Neither is it shade. So the meaning of wrath is anger. I want you to look at this GIF now. Now I want you to identify a word here that means appears. Is it looms? Is it shade? Or is it wrath? It is not wrath because we just now saw wrath means anger. Neither is it shade. The word appears means looms. I want you to look at this line. Looms but the horror of the shade. What does it mean? So the poet says that beyond this, after this present state of suffering, he knows that there will be more suffering that will come his way, and all of that is very scary. It's horrifying. And that's why the shade symbolizes darkness, it symbolizes suffering. And that's why he says it is horrifying. Looms but the horror of the shade. So the suffering is horrifying to the poet. It scares him. All right, tell me, how does the menace of the years finds the poet? Is it horrified, unafraid, or shady? We'll see. The menace of the years finds the poet unafraid. All right, look at this GIF here. Look at his eyes. Don't they look threatening? So let's see which word from these three means a threat or a scare. Is it menace, shade, or wrath? We'll see. It's not wrath. Neither is it shade. So the word is menace. A menace is a threat. All right. Which word is used to describe the gate? Is it unafraid? Is it straight? Or is it charged? We'll see. The gate is straight. Now I want you to identify a word here that means narrow. Is it straight? Is it gate? Or is it charged? Let's check. It's not charged. It's not gate. The meaning of straight is narrow. All right. Well, look at this picture. This is a material that's used for writing on. Now let's see what this thing is. Is it fate? Is it scroll? Or is it soul? We'll see. This object is called a scroll. All right, look at these lines. How charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. What is the poet trying to say? You know, many people, regardless of their religion, believe that God and his angels make a record of one's good deeds and bad deeds. And at the end of our lives, we are punished or rewarded according to the deeds that have been recorded. Here we see that the poet has had so many sufferings in his life, and so he does not care what has been written in his scroll, whether it's good deeds or bad deeds, because he believes that he is the master of his own destiny. The captain of a ship is usually the main person who guides, who directs the ship. And in the same way, the poet believes that he is the captain of his life, and whatever happens to him is by his own doing and not by anybody else, not by a god or not by anyone else around him. If you remember in the very first stanza that we did, he says, I thank whatever gods may be. He's not even sure if there's a god. And that's why he believes that whatever happens to him, whether good or bad, he creates his own destiny. You know, just like the poet, each one of us tries to give the best of our potential. And that's why each one of us, our lives are constant efforts to be good human beings, to reach our maximum potential. Now let us try to identify the rhyme scheme here. We have tears, we have shade, which does not rhyme with tears. Then we have years, which rhymes with tears. Unafraid, that rhymes with shade. So we have AB, AB. Let's look at this. Gate, scroll, fate, which rhymes with gate, and soul. So again, AB, AB. So the rhyme scheme here too is AB, AB. So the entire poem has a rhyme scheme which is AB, AB. I will now put up three main ideas. I want you to identify which one is closest to the main idea of the second two stanzas that we've done. Is it the scroll of God? Is it undefeated and undestroyed? Or is it drop in tears? Can we say it's undefeated and undestroyed because in spite of the poet's circumstances, he does not consider himself defeated? Alright, so we can say that our main idea is undefeated and undestroyed. So students, today we saw how William Ernest Henley stood brave and strong in spite of the pain and sufferings that came in his life. Now let us try to identify the central idea. Is it the story of William Ernest Henley? Is it bent, not broken? Or is it captain of souls? Let's try and see which is the central idea. It's not the story, right? It's not his life story, is it? No. Neither is it captain of souls. It is bent, not broken. The poet is bent in spite of his circumstances, but he is not broken. He still stands strong. Now students, when you read the poem, how do you feel? What is the mood of the poem? What's the tone of the poem? I'm going to put certain words up. Let's see if we can identify which of these words tells us a little about the mood, or how is it that the poet feels, or how is it that you as a reader feel. Brave, painful, cheerful, dull, happy, serious, bright, joyful, strong, dark. We'll see. Brave, right? The poet is brave. The tone is painful, right? It's dull also because of his sufferings. It's strong, right? He's brave and strong. It's serious. It's not funny. Is it funny? No, it's serious. And it's a little dark again because of his pain, because of the sufferings that he faces. Students, let's come back to our title, Invictus. Invictus is a Latin word. Let's look at the English meanings. We saw it at the start. Let's look again. Unbeatable, unconquerable, undefeatable, unstoppable. Why do you think the poet has written an English poem with a Latin title? Why do you think that is? You know, the use of this Latin word adds to the appeal of the poem. It adds to the aesthetic value of the poem. In fact, the title is the entire essence of the poem summarized in one word. Students, if you remember at the start, the poet says that if there are gods, he is thankful to them for his unconquerable soul. And he also says that he is the master of his own fate. So people like that who do not believe in the existence of God are called atheists. And on the other hand, there are people who do believe in the existence of God. These people are called theists. In life, we see that whether we believe in God or not, the problems that life sends each one of us, regardless of our religion, is the same. In our own country, India, we see people of different religions living together, and among these, there are atheists too. The problems and issues that our country faces remain the same, no matter what religion, whether it is poverty, whether it is unemployment, they are faced equally by all people, no matter what God who worships. We can and we must try to respect every person regardless of their religion, but as human beings, because we never know what another person is going through. Alright, so from today onwards, let us try to be kind. Let us try to say at least one kind thing to at least one person every day. Students, before we close, there's a short assignment for you. I want you to go to YouTube and watch this video of Nana Patekar from the movie Krantiveer. There's a very famous Hindu and Muslim dialogue from this movie, Krantiveer. I want you to write in a short paragraph about what the video speaks and what you can learn and what you've learned from it. Alright? So that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.